And the pleasure is mine now to introduce to you our special guest in the person of Mr. Phillip Telesford. Now, Mr. Phillip Telesford, presently he is the caretaker for the NDC caretaker, I should say, for the St. George South East Constituency. That is where Mr. Gregory Bowen is the parliamentary representative, and where the former political leader of the NDC, Ms. Franca Bonadine, she was the caretaker for that constituency. Mr. Phillip Telesford, he is a chartered accountant, and he's also, he also has credentials as an international financial reporting for the International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS, which has to do with setting the standards for financial statements and issues relating to such. And there's a lot more that can be said about him, but I will allow him to tell you whatever else that he feels is pertinent to present in the public domain here this afternoon. But the pleasure is mine to welcome to the comfort zone and to GMFM, Mr. Phillip Telesford. Good afternoon to you and welcome. Mr. Telesford? Your mic is muted.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we're hearing you now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, good afternoon to you, Pablo.
Yes, sir. John Caliste is the man who runs things around here, John Caliste.
Yes, so that's the IT man, I imagine.
Yes, that's the man that the man that's doing everything, the man that has this operation going.
Wonderful.
You know? The man who built this dream.
Yes. Well, respect to you. Yes. And I want to thank both of you for having me on here this afternoon. I must say it is indeed a pleasure for me. Prior to my entry into frontline politics, I was never a media personality. So I am basically a rookie, trying to learn the ropes and all of that. But I see this as serious business. And so I thank you for the opportunity for making your program available to me so that I can speak on behalf of the people, because I believe when I speak from the very soul of our nation that has been crying out for many years for fresh voice, new thinking, and new blood in the political arena. And that is why I'm here today. So the question was asked to me earlier. Well, let me, even before I do that, I want to salute those of you who are listening, both locally here in Grenada, via the GMFM station, on Facebook, and what other platform that you might make this available to them. I want to salute everybody who is listening in this afternoon, and especially those of you who are out there in the diaspora, who have a very keen interest in the development of our nation, and of course is looking forward to change anxiously as we are from this side of the hemisphere. So I want to salute each and every one of you. So as Pablo said it, my name is Phillip Telesford. And who am I? That was a question that was raised. And to answer your question, yes, to answer your question, I like to start by saying I am a family man. I'm a family man. I have a beautiful wife whom I cherish quite much, and 4 lovely children, including one beautiful daughter. And every time I look at them, I think about the wider Grenadian young people who are out there just looking for hope, because I know what it is. As a young person myself, having grown up and lived here in Grenada all my life, I understand the struggles. So I am a family man. I'm also a believer in Jesus Christ. yeah, professing Christian. And I stand by that because I believe that is what informs the way I treat with people, the way I conduct myself, and because I am accountable not only to myself, but to every human being that I encounter on a daily basis, because I believe that we are one people, and of course, we have to be accountable to each and every one of us. I'm also a chartered accountant, as you mentioned earlier. I would have served on many board of directors prior to, and I do continue to serve on many boards, including the credit union movement, of which currently I am the president of the Grenada Cooperative Credit Union League, giving overall leadership and strategic guidance to the movement here locally. I'm also the managing director and founder of Excellent Farms Limited. That is a company that I would have founded some 10 years ago and have just come into fruition. And so we've started our operation and we are doing our thing from that side. I have been a practicing accountant and senior manager for the last 2 decades here in Grenada, working especially in the tourism industry. I work in 2 renowned hotels here locally. So I am well known within the hotel and hospitality industry. I'm also a practicing farmer by way of my farm, of course. But farming is something that has been, when I say farming, I'm speaking about agriculture. That has been something that has been very dear to me over the years, because I come from an agricultural-based family. So that is really what it is. And so that is basically going back to my roots. As Lucky Dubie would have said, you got to go back to the roots. And that is where I am right now, functioning in the agricultural sector. Very exciting, very rewarding, lots of hard work indeed. But what makes the difference is the excitement of the convergence of agriculture with technology. And that is what I've brought to the parish of St. Patrick, how we can, by the touch of a button, be able to do so many different things. And so that is who I am in a nutshell. Presently the NDC's choice, caretaker for South East, as you would have mentioned. So in a summary, that is who I am. Okay, maybe you're not ready for me, so I'll just keep on talking a bit until you reposition yourself. I think you are just, so Grenada has been clamoring for youth voice. Grenada has been clamoring for change, and not just in the recent years. It has happened for a long time now. We have been clamoring for change as a people. And every time I look at where we are going, it seemed to me that we are stuck. We have been stuck in reverse gear for quite a number of years. And I cannot any longer sit back as a Grenadian and see my fellow men suffer, because that is what is really happening here in our country. I work in the hotel industry, and you know that within the industry, we have some of the lowest paid people as well as the highest paid people within the industry. But what we have been allowed to get from the industry over the years has been the lowest paid salaries. And I have looked at this, and my staff would tell you, because we have had these discussions, that we have never really done anything to ensure that our bona fide, authentic Grenadians benefit from the industry in a significant way. And by that I mean that many years ago, we really should have provided the opportunity by way of scholarship and by way of training so that our young people would become the chefs and would become the hotel managers and the operation managers and the food and beverage managers and the executive housekeepers and all of those sweet and lofty high-paying positions that are available. We have not positioned our people to get that. And hospitality is a complex industry. But what we have been taught over the years is that it's just about making beds and serving tables. But I say to you, having experienced it, that it is much more than that. But we've never positioned our people to be able to benefit from that. And so when I was offered a job at a hotel, I was shocked that there was one available for Grenadian. Because what I know over the years is that all of those top jobs has been assigned, if I might say, to foreigners who would come in and do their thing, and that there is no one here who's able. And even hotel accounting, I say to you, it's a specialized field. I cannot, as a chartered accountant, simply walk in to a hotel and start performing accounting in the way that I know it. It is a specialized accounting process, if I might say that, because what they look at in hospitality accounting is so vastly different to what is looked at from the streamline accounting. And so I'm saying to us, we have not positioned our people to do that and to work in other industries.
Oh, well, that was definitely a mouthful. You helped me out greatly here because I had an issue, dealing with here that caused me to have to relocate and stuff like that. So it's a good thing that you are as versed as you are in in making your presentations, that you could have continued and allowed me to get myself sorted out here together. But it's interesting that you would be coming to the fore at this point in time, because I've met you, our paths have crossed many moons ago, but I haven't been acquainted with you then as I am becoming presently. And the fact that you coming out into the forefront, you said that you were not that kind of media person, but you will have to be if you are going to be involved as you are. But the thing is, we have a situation in this country where we've had one party has been the dominant political force for the past 25 or so years. And they have muddied the political waters so significantly, so much, that many people, many credible people who may otherwise have offered themselves to serve are not inclined to do so. What is it that would make you be brave enough? I mean, I know you're a man of faith. Is that sufficient? Has that been sufficient to drive you into the forefront at this point in time? Or what are some of the other issues that would drive you to be able to jump boldly into this muddied water that so many other people are trying to avoid?
Right. Well, thanks again. Well, I've always been in my quiet corner a very courageous, brave person. I grew up like that. And but that is not what drove me. What drove me to get involved in frontline politics is that I recognize that I have been feeling something. I've been feeling the pulse of this country. And it seemed to me that heartbeat of our nation that I know and that I've read about and heard of, that pulse is getting weaken and weaken and weaken, as if to say, as a nation, we are suffocating, we are dying. And I'm saying, but this is not good enough. And I am feeling that, and I'm hearing people saying, we cannot speak, because if we speak, and we cannot go back to certain days because of this, and if we come out, we're going to be victimized, and all of that, and all of that. And I'm saying, but if we continue like this, where would we be as a nation? So I said to myself and to my wife and family that we must do something about what is happening. And as I mentioned before, I've had lots of conversation with co-workers and other people regarding our country. And generally, we are not happy. We are stuck in reverse gear. We are going back. We've lost it. We have lost our place on the Caribbean stage, on the OECD stage. We are going back. We are regressing. And I am saying, we are in the 21st century. Look at what technology is doing in the world. Look at the intelligence of our young people. I'm saying to us, it would shock you of the number of persons with 1 and 2 degrees, as well as masters and so on, PhD, young people walk in the streets of Grenada. It will shock you of their qualification, how bright these people are. But guess what? They cannot find a place. And it occurred to me that what we are trying to do is really ship our people off by way of scholarships, because there are absolutely no incentives to pull them back after they would have left Grenada for scholarship. And I'm saying on scholarships, and I'm saying, but where are we heading? Because if we continue this brain drain and people continue to leave in mass numbers, I looked at the nurses, I think it was the latter part of 2019, maybe halfway through 2019, thereabout. And I'm seeing this and I'm wondering what is happening. I look at the teachers and what is happening with them. And I'm saying these people, they just want to pick themselves up and leave. And many times as a young person, I felt the urge to do the same. But what is going to happen if all of our educated people leave and the few who are in business and able to maneuver and be able to continue the business operations, they will be in the minority. And this country is going to be taken over, with all due respect to our expats and foreigners who are here working. I respect you because I see myself as an international person with an international qualification, can work anywhere. I have no problem with you coming in. But I'm saying, when you look at the bona fide, authentic Grenadians who cannot find a place in the land of birth, added to that, we have a situation where we are selling most of our national assets, our prime assets. Look at those, look at Livera, look at Calivini Island. I know it was in private hands for quite a long time. The Hog Island and the prime beachfront properties and those places that have been sold, and the talk is there about the airport and all of that. You're looking at that, and I'm saying that if we continue along this route that we are going, there will not be a place for the next generation. And therefore, somebody must stand up. Somebody must speak up. And if it costs me my life, that might just be a price worthy to be paid at this point in time. Yes? But I know it's not going to cost me my life. I know that. I'm saying to us, the time is here. Grenadian must stand up, must face the reality must reckon with our history, must reckon with our present, and find a way to look to the future with some degree of optimism. So we cannot continue the way we are going. And the difference, when I look at it, back in the days of Fedon, Julian Fedon, he could have run to Graniton for rescue. He could have hidden in the hills in Graniton. But today, we are boxed in because we have sold everything, even Graniton. So if we have to run, the question is, where would we run? Where can we go? We can't even run and hide in Graniton anymore, because that too, I have learned, is in private hands. And so that is my motivation. That is my inspiration. When they think we cannot do better, somebody must rise up and say, Grenada deserves better. We must arise from our sleep and from our slumber and rescue our nation. Because you know what? There is a patriotic blood that flows through our veins. Every single one of us as Grenadians. We may not speak, but all it takes now is for one brave person to stand and say, I am a patriot. I'm going to defend my country and stand in honor of that. And I believe if I do that, many more will come on board, because this is the time to stand in defense of our beloved nation.
So speaking of that, and based on the challenges you say, the whole issue of the selling of our patrimony and stuff like that, what do you see as some of the other, really outstanding critical issues that we face? We see the issues with the teachers and all that goes with it. Can you give us, as from your vantage point, what are those critical elements of governance and, matters relating to our national development you see that are critical at this juncture?
Pablo, there are just so many. But of course, I would just try to see what I can deal with here. Quite a lot. The challenge that Grenada faces is that of courageous, visionary leadership. We are stuck there. And so, over the last 50 years, and I would put it like that because Grenada is on the verge of celebrating 50 years of its 50th anniversary of independence. That is where we are heading. And after 50 years, we really cannot make a boast. Yes, we are proud people. Yes, we are hardworking people. Yes, for ourselves, we have tried. But as a nation, we were plagued over the last 50 years by politicians. It was all about politics and power. It's about self-aggrandizement and self-enrichment. It's all about how you can play with the minds of people. That is what we have seen, with the exception of a few short instances where certain patriots would have arisen for very short periods of time and say, let us put our country first. Very short period of time. But the majority of it is one in which our country has been plagued by a struggle for power to maintain a grip on power. Brother, we cannot continue like this. The next 50 years cannot look as the past 50 years. As I said before, it seemed to me that we are stuck in reverse. There must be some visionary, courageous leader who would is prepared to stand and move from reverse into forward gear. We must jolt this economy. We must shock the economy to move forward, because we have been in such a slumber for such a period of time. And you know, the story is told. The story is told because when your main source of revenue becomes that of selling your birthright, of selling citizenship, yeah, when that becomes your main source of revenue, it tells you that you are heading down the road to destruction. You're heading down the road to destruction. It simply means that the fundamental development pillars have been ignored for such a long period of time that the country and the leadership of our nation has become so desperate that they have to now revert to selling your birthright. That is where we are. And therefore, I make this statement here saying that the next 50 years must be about the development of the very soul of the leader, development of people, empowerment of the next generation of leaders. I make this statement many times, and I say this: failure is success without a successor. So when you hear leaders saying, I cannot find anyone else to replace me, they are saying it's really an indictment on themselves. They're simply saying, I have prepared this thing in such a way that nobody knows what I have been doing. I have been operating in the underworld, sort of, so that nobody could understand what I have been doing. And I care not to show anybody what I've been doing. But I want to say this: managing a country is not rocket science. Managing a country calls for feelings. It calls for a heart. It calls for the appreciation of people. You see, I came from humble beginnings, and I pay respect to my parents for that. I know what it means to struggle, to skip a meal, to make sacrifices. I know what the importance of agriculture, because many a times the fruits were our meals. But I also say that that is what keeps us healthy. My father at 92, my mother at 82. That's the kind of life that we lived. You work hard, laugh plenty, yeah, and eat healthy. That is what it is. But I'm saying to us that we have positioned ourselves in leadership in such a way that it looked from the outside impossible that anyone could come in. It's not that difficult. You must love people, appreciate your history, have a vision for the future, be willing to listen. These are common things. Let me tell you this: no leader can sit in his office and prescribe, as it were, a medication or treatment for a constituency or a village or a parish. You must hear what the people want. Listen to that. Brother, I say to you, it was noised about many years ago that local government must be implanted in our democratic framework. I say to you, if you don't have local government, you're spinning top in mud. Mud. You must hear from people, know what they want. know how they feel, know how they think, understand the demographics, what the society is made up of. And that is why we have so many people in the hotel industry cannot find a decent, will never be able to earn a decent wage and to work at the higher level because you do not know what is there in the first place. And you see everybody else as not having the ability. That's a problem. Grenadians have tremendous abilities, tremendous potentials. I believe in my people. You know why? Because I have seen us do some very great things. Very great things. And because many of us would have left the shores of Grenada and have inserted themselves in other societies elsewhere and have made humongous strides and done tremendous things, that is sufficient to say that our people have what it takes to transform this place. But if you are in a dictatorship and you don't want to listen to anybody else, then you will never know what is needed to get this economy moving and to take your country forward. So we need leaders who will listen.
Mr. Phillip, these are some very interesting issues that you are bringing to the fore. But based on the things that you just said, and given the fact that the government that we get comes from a process of elections, and it's the people who vote for the parliamentary representatives, and ultimately the people who make up the cabinet and parliament of this country. I want to share something with you that was shared by a radio personality. Now, sometime in 2018, after Nazim Buck gave up the leadership of the NDC, and Joseph Andal became the interim political leader, he was in an interview with on one of the radio stations, and the host of the program said the following to him. He said, because they were doing an analysis of the 2018 general elections that had passed just a few months ago, and he said to Mr. Andal that voters are no longer driven by the hard, they are no longer galvanized by the hardcore issues, that they have become, let's say, superficial and are driven by instant gratification. And as such, one political party has been taking full advantage of that situation, but the other party has been reluctant to move in that direction. And probably that's the direction that this other party, namely the NDC, needs to go if they're to be successful with the electorate of the country. What do you say to such a perspective about our voters? And what would it take to change such a mindset if it does exist?
Right. That's a very deep question. I don't so much agree with the full content of it. But I say to you, Grenadians are not dumb people. Grenadians are thinking people. And I can say this because I've had many instances where I've been reasoning with who you may consider street people on the street, on the blocks. I've been reasoning with people. And people who you think may not understand some of the complex issues. But they do. They do. Now, I do not believe that politics has to be about tricking people. But I believe that you must practice smart politics. Smart politics. Now, politics in Grenada has been about name calling, destroying people's character, and so that would have overshadowed the political landscape for the last few elections. You see, because what they sought to do was to build something, build a shadow really, a fake thing, in that it's all about how you look, it's all about how you can dance, it's all about, you know, destroying people's character and mudslinging and so on and so on. But in the process, as I mentioned earlier, it was only about protection of a person. So the past few elections has been about one man, one individual, the protection of the political future of one individual. That's it. Now, elections, and that's why I speak about smart politics. Elections cannot be and should never be about the protection of the political future of one individual or anybody for that matter. It must be about the 100,000 plus Grenadians living on this sweet piece of rock, and the more than 100,000 people who call themselves Grenadian, who know they are Grenadians, living outside there in the diaspora. Elections must be about the future of Grenada. It must be about the next generation. It cannot be about the next politician. Must be about the next generation. So, yes, there's a process of education, but there's also the matter of financing democracy. And I'm speaking to you Grenadians today, those of you at home and in the diaspora. If you want change in this country, you must contribute financially to that change. You cannot fold your arms and close your wallets and expect change, because democracy is a very costly enterprise. I call upon you, therefore, to finance the candidates, assist the candidates. I call upon the business community. If you want change, if you want better, put your money where your mouth is and where your mind is. This is how we're going to start to build, block by block, brick by brick. We will build this country. And it also has to do with you speaking up, talking to your neighbors, speaking to your children, speaking to your friends and your co-workers, educating them of our history, and speaking about what you want your future to be. What is the Grenadian future? What is the Grenadian destiny? What is this thing that we aspire, build, and advance? What is that thing? In order to do this together, in order to win this election, and it's not just about winning, you know, it's about the transformative agenda. In order to secure the transformative agenda and give young people a chance, because it's really their thing, it's really our era, and to embrace the wisdom of those who would have gone before us, to really chart a serious, when I say gone before us, those who are senior to us, to really chart a course for the future development, the future prosperity of this beloved country. We must contribute financially and speak up for change. If what we are seeing on the news is not tolerable, then we got to speak up. If we know that this country has regressed, then there is a reason to speak. If we know that healthcare services is broken, and one is afraid to literally go into the hospital for treatment, then there is a reason to speak. If it is shameful that our men and women in uniform has to be battling for 4% increase, which amounts to some $50 or $60 in some instances, is unacceptable to you, then there is a reason to speak. If it is unacceptable that after 50 years of independence, we cannot feed our nation, we cannot feed ourselves, then there is a reason to speak. Yes? If we are selling out our prime, if there is talk about selling out our prime assets and digging ourselves deep into a hole that we cannot get out of, then there is a reason to speak. And there are many reasons to speak in Grenada. I urge us as Grenada, and I call upon you, speak up for heaven's sakes, because if you don't speak, the next generation will hold you guilty of silence.
Well said, sir. You mentioned earlier on about the whole issue of local government and how critical it is to our development thrust going forward. What would you say are some of the more significant elements of a development agenda that we need to really get into, that we need to bring to the fore if we are to really progress as we ought to? What are those elements of a development agenda that we need going forward?
Right. So I would say, firstly, on top of my list has to be a bringing together, a marriage of our young people, the youth, technology, and investment. Get our people into investment. Get our young people into investment. Tap into their creative geniuses. Tap into the creative appetite that these young people possess. Get them into investment. There are too many of our young people who have so much talent, so much creativity, so much to offer, but no financial backing, nothing to go by. And as a result, they are left in the wind. I am saying any serious government who wants to see this country go forward must invest heavily in our youth by way of a marriage of technology, financial resources, and our young people. I want to say also that it is absolutely necessary or urgent that we make a marriage, another marriage, that of agriculture, agro-processing, and tourism. It is shameful, embarrassing to say the least, and I'm speaking from experience and knowledge here, when our guest comes to this island, that we have to feed them with imported products. That is not what they come here for. They came here so that they can sample our local cuisine, sample our fruits and vegetables, ground provisions. Yes, enjoy our art and craft, enjoy the performing arts, the culture, enjoy the history, which we fail to document. We need to do more to lift ourselves. Where is our pride? Lift the pride of our people. There must be a marriage of agri-processing, agriculture, and tourism for this thing to work. Because we have to be able to feed ourselves. God forbid that something happens on this island and the boats cannot dock at our port. God forbid. We would have to eat one another. This is a shame. This cannot be. After 50 years of independence, my brother, think about it. We will starve on this island. We will starve. There are very cheap pieces of equipment. I call it cheap, but good things not cheap. But there are pieces of equipment that can be used to assist our farmers. There is technology that is available. You know exactly what to plant, when to plant. You can predict the profitability well in advance. There is, listen, the technology that is there for agriculture that can be employed in agriculture to make it exciting, to make it rewarding for young people. We need to embrace that. Look, we have some of the best soils in the world. This must be a blessed land. This must be a blessed land. Look at the topography of Grenada. Look at the amount of water. We're not even damming sufficient water. Look at the runoff of water on an annual basis. Dam the water. Also, we should still have a proper desalination facility in the event that we have long drought, periods of long drought, so that we can deal with the issue of shortages of water, if in the event that that happens. We are just playing too much games with our very survival. Brother, I say this to you. Those who are in government, those who are in authority, can summon a ship to ship them out in case they cannot survive here. You can do that. They have the power. They can summon a helicopter to take them out. You can't do that. I can't do that. The average Grenadian cannot do that. So we must build something that would enable us to survive in the event that we have an uncomfortable situation for a period of time. Let us do better. Let us invest properly. Let us make the right, correct investments into technology, into agriculture, into agri-processing, into people. People are the soul of our country. That's the very soul, that's the heartbeat of Grenada. The people. How can we be leaving them behind? Why are we importing so many other foreigners? I have no problem with foreigners, but I know what I'm saying. And giving away our prime properties. What is wrong with the Grenadian investor? Why can't we provide the necessary platform for them to invest and also expand on their investments? Why? Brother, we deserve better than this. And I say to us, if we are serious about the next generation, if we are serious about protecting our own survival on this island, we must vote for change. Democracy is a costly venture. And that is the system that we abide by. I love it. I love the freedom of our Grenadian people. I don't criticize people. The last election, I don't have anything ill to say about our voters. because they were made a promise that was broken with a very cold heart, very cold. Pension, oil money, and all of this, very cold. They made a promise. They looked at people, thousands and thousands of our fellow Grenadians, eyeballed them and made a promise and broke it without any remorse. That is why the teachers are there today. That is why they're clamoring. That is why our public officers are clamoring, because they have fooled deliberately so. Any blind person could see a deliberate attempt to hoodwink the Grenadian people into voting for them, and turn only hours after to deny us the promise that you made. So I respect the votes that were cast in the last election, but I speak on behalf of the Grenadian people. You fooled me once. Shame on you. Shame on you. Yeah? But you ain't going to fool me twice. So my brother, you are in power today. You have done your bit. You have fooled us. I have a message for you. We will raise the money that is needed to run a vibrant, dynamic campaign. The Grenadian people will give in to us. They will support us, because they know when we speak, we come from the bowels of the Grenadian society. When we speak because we feel the pain of the other 100,000 Grenadians here and the balance in the diaspora. They know what we're speaking about, because they feel exactly what we feel. And we are not into politics per se. We are into national development. That is what we are. And so we are asking for a chance to change this country in the right direction. That is what we're asking the Grenadian people for. And I am blessed to be one of the agents for change in this country. Yes? And I am accountable to myself, to my family, and to the rest of Grenada, both here locally and in the diaspora.
Wow. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Phillip Telesford. You know, as you mentioned about the promise that was made, the pre-election promises, and so something comes to mind. In recent times, we've heard the union leaders referring to these election cycle caveats that's always offered up by government whenever you're getting into an election cycle. And I would trust that they do not allow another election cycle caveat to woo them into a false sense of security, where the voters will go out there, the workers of this country will go out there and vote and return Dr. Mitchell and his NNP into office once again. You spoke about the need for us to have certain things to be part of the conversation, and they should be part of the conversation now, not after the election cycle, not after the election results are out. We begin to speak about healthcare and all those issues. We need to speak about these issues during the election campaign. Finally, before you leave us, I cannot allow you to leave here if you don't share with us a little bit on this issue. It was reported by the GBN some time ago about you being involved with the Excellent Farms, project up in the St. Patrick East constituency. Can you tell us a little more about that? It's a poultry project that is supposed to have a total capacity of 50,000 birds and whatever else that goes with it. Can you tell us a little bit about that? When did that project start and at what stage of its development it is?
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, it's, because I don't really want to bring my business too much into that. But I would say to you, yes, we have a poultry farm, Excellent Farms Limited. Both my wife and I, over the last 10 years, would have been struggling, as it were, to raise the financial resources to set up this company. And we are blessed to say that as of today, actually 10 years after, we now have the very first batch of birds on the farm. We have Grenadians working, and we are excited about what that has already done for the surrounding areas, the parishes around and so on, including St. Patrick, of course. So we are excited about what is happening, and we continue to offer leadership to that company. And we believe that it is going to do well because we are committed to this. We are hardworking people. My wife is well trained and well seasoned. She comes with a lot of experience in the field of marketing. And of course, I'm a financial person with a lot of experience in the area of management and leadership. So I think with the competent staff that we have a very competent staff. We were able to hire other managers and so in various areas. And so with the other the management team and the board and the rest of the staff, I'm sure that we will do extremely well here in Grenada. And we are counting on, again, on the support of our people to really make this thing a reality. The business is not about politics. We are not into politics when it comes to a business. We must separate both of them. But I understand why you would ask the question, but we continue to work hard to ensure its success. Yes. So thank you.
Yes, Mr. Telesford. Well, it's really been a pleasure having you here, and I know that you are going to be on the comfort zone. Well, not just on the comfort zone, you know. I know that you are going to be back on GMFM again and again. Not just on the comfort zone, but on the talking point. We have talking point on Friday and Saturday evenings from 8 p.m. So I expect that you are going to be on one of the talking point programs sometime. But I had to get you out here so that people can begin to have an appreciation as to who is Phillip Telesford. Because as you rightly said, although you have been involved for quite some time now, you work at management level, you know, in different entities and so, but you have not been out there in the public domain. So a lot of people don't know who is Phillip Telesford. So people have to get to know who is Phillip Telesford. And I'm happy to have had the opportunity to have you here this evening. But before I let you go, I want to share with you some of the comments that have been going on in the comments section in our live here this afternoon since you've been on. In fact, I see Mr. Tony David on here this afternoon. Although he is not one that I usually see on. Welcome, Mr. Tony David. It was a pleasure having you here this afternoon on the comfort zone. And we see, well, here are some of the comments. They need people like you, Brother Telesford. You're right on point. Someone else says, I'm hearing someone with a passion for Grenada that I haven't heard before for a very long time. Another person writes, we are playing too many games with our very survival. This is deep. And someone else says, Mr. A. Telesford, don't keep quiet. They say it is as they say it as they see it. And no, they says, oh, okay, I just get what the person is saying. The person says, A. Telesford don't keep quiet. They say it as they see it, and that is the way to go. Those green machines are up for a challenge. NDC forward ever, backward never. Somebody, and the person says, amen. And someone is saying, if not Nas, this is the brother. And so you have made an impact. And we have someone rounding it up. Good show, brother Telesford. So, you know, it's really a pleasure having had you. And I said you have made an impact with our viewers out there, and I expect to see you back sometime. So all the best with your project, all the best in your endeavor as the caretaker / candidate for the St. George South East Constituency, and all the best for the NDC going forward. Okay, thank you once again for being here. Yes, go ahead.
If you would permit me.
Yes, sure.
And excuse my bad manners, I didn't big up my.
Sure, no problem. This is your moment. This is your moment. This is your time.
Shine. They did such a wonderful. We had such a wonderful meeting last Tuesday. The branch. I was really deep touched at the level of turnout and the commitment that people gave. I mean, there was a particular committee that we were trying to form. We were only looking for 3 persons, and we got 7 volunteers. So instead of having a committee of 3, we have 7. And that is the kind of thing that I'm seeing happening. There is a stir, a serious stir. I want to salute the branch, South East St. George. I want to salute the residents of South East St. George and the entire Grenadian public. I salute you. I salute also the Grenadians who are out there in the diaspora. We love you. Yes, we do. And you are part of us. We cannot divorce ourselves from you simply because you work and live outside there. You are Grenadian. You are fully Grenadian. And so we salute you. We love you. And if you're there listening to us, we want to thank you for tuning in. And this is our time, Grenada, for us to look to the future with a sense of hope and optimism. So I want to say thanks to every one of you. Thanks to my wife also. I'm sure she's listening on. And my children and my family. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to my mother and father. Thanks to them and everybody else. So big up everybody. Big up Randall. Randall is, I hope it's okay for me to do this. Randall is the guy who took me and said, guy, you got to do this. I'm stepping aside for you. well, I mean, Franca was there, of course, and I respect her highly. And she was due to ill health, and I salute her today. Sorry for my bad manners. We love you, Sister Franca. You're a wonderful woman. Grenada don't know what we are missing by people like this. I mean, these are people who speak to you from the very fabric of their being. She says what she means, and she will do what she means. But sad enough that she had to exit due to ill health, so she may not be on the team this time around. But I thank her also for everything that she would have done. Thanks to Randall for inviting me in, because he could have just stepped back in because he was candidate before, well loved and appreciated in Southeast, and he would have given me the opportunity. So I say thanks to him, and big up my chairman and the crew. And all of those, you know who you are, who have been offering support in one way or the other. I say thank you, and God bless every single one of you. I pay respect to the NDC and its leadership for giving me the opportunity to represent the party from the South East St. George constituency branch. So I thank you for that, and big up to all of you. Blessings.